Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the second season, the second show live here for the Order of the Sons and Daughters of Italy in America. We are so excited to be here with yet another Italian superstar. I know that you're all out there. You're all very anxious to hear the interview, to learn more about Lidia Bastianich, and to be able to put your questions into the chat box so that Justin, our moderator, is going to be able to get your questions into the feed and ask the questions of Lidia so she can be answering them for you. I am co-hosting today with Mary Kovach, and she is not only a professor, a university professor, but she is also a member of the Sons and Daughters of Italy on a national, state, and local level. As you well know, the Orders of Sons and Daughters in Italy is a national organization of men and women who represent the estimated 17 million Americans of Italian heritage that are dedicated to promoting the culture, the tradition, the language, and the legacy of their Italian ancestors. So without further ado, I am really thrilled to be able to introduce Lidia Bastianich. She is here right there. You can see her on the screen. We welcome you, Signora Bastianich, and we say to you, tutti a tavola a mangiare.
Buongiorno, buongiorno.
Buongiorno, signora. Buongiorno.
Allora, adesso siamo tutti a tavola a parlare.
Tutti a tavola a parlare, brava. That's right. We're all around the table now to speak and to learn so much more about you. When I was doing my research about you, Lidia, it was so heartwarming to me, if you will, to learn of your early life and to know that, you had some difficult beginnings, but, to be able to come from where you were to where you are today is truly one of probably the most inspirational stories that I have ever heard.
Well, Clarissa, it's the American story, the American immigrant story. And certainly before me, many Italian families have come through this path and really made America their home. They have achieved, what Italians have achieved in America is wonderful. How much they have gained in America and how much they have brought to America. So, I came here, I was 12 years old. Yeah. So I am very American because most of my life I spent here. But once you're born or you're from a family Italian, that always remains. So I always say, I have two of the best cultures in the world. How can I go wrong?
Yeah, you can't go wrong. You absolutely cannot. And I love how when I was doing my research, you speak about your nonna Rosa and how incisive she was in your life when it came to the kitchen. And that one day when you left Istria, you didn't know that you would never see her again. So this was kind of a way for you to stay connected, if you will, to your nonna through.
Well, yes, Clarissa, because the Istria, in 1947, when the war ended, was given from Italy, was given to the newly formed communist Yugoslavia. So we were sort of my beginning. My life was in a situation under communism. And Nonna Rosa was kind of a refuge. She was in a little town and she provided the food, she had the animals, and that was the safe haven for us. We could speak Italian, she would take us to church because otherwise you couldn't do that. And so when my parents in 1950 was 55 decided that they need to leave this, they need to bring their kids back into a free society, and literally we escaped back into Italy. So I didn't know that we were not coming back.
Right.
And you're right. When I realized I was in Trieste in actually a refugee camp,
right,
that I wasn't going back. The memories of Grandma Rosa the nostalgia and food, my love for food. I started cooking all the flavors, the aromas that I remember her doing. That would bring me back to Grandma Rosa. I would connect via food and aroma. So I think, that was the kind of the birth of my passion for food, and I'm still at it.
And then you move forward and you started, and by the way, we fast forward because we only have a half an hour show. So there's so much more to tell. But, I know that you went in and you started to open up your own restaurants. And one of them, I think, the first restaurant only had 9 tables or something like that in New York.
Yes, 1971. I came here, I was in 1958. I was young, so I did most of my schooling here. But I met my husband also, who was from OSDIA, and he was in the restaurant industry. And while going to school and at home, you know, my mother worked, but I always cooked. And even as a side job, I worked in the bakery, I worked in restaurants. So food was always there, and I loved doing it. And ultimately, my husband decided, let's open a little restaurant. I said, okay, I'll help you. But I wasn't a chef yet. And that was 1971, and it was a little tiny restaurant. We hired a chef. I became the sous chef because I knew how to cook the sort of regional foods that we cooked at home, but I wasn't a professional chef.
Right. You said, I thought, please.
I sort of went into the kitchen. I said, okay, I'm going to be your sous chef and I'm going to learn from you. And so I did for 10 years. And then in 81, we opened Lidia. We sold. By then, we had enlarged. We had 2 restaurants. We did well. You know, worked very hard, but business was good. Opened Lidia, and there I became the chef.
And then fast forward again, and then I promise I'll let Mary ask a few questions, but then fast forward again to Julia Childs asked you to come on to her show. I think it was 1993. Am I getting the date right?
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay, so Julia Childs asked you on to her show on PBS,
and she came to Lidia. She came because she heard this woman, this Italian woman chef. You know, in America, it was all about men chefs. Yeah. And in Italy, it's all about women. You know that. You know, in the restaurant, basically, now it's the hot chef, the starred chef. But women are always in the kitchen in Italy. And so she came, she wanted to taste, because what I did, Clarissa, you know, there was the Italian-American food, which is delicious, but that's not the regional food of Italy. So I began cooking the regional food of Italy, and everybody was curious. She came with James Beard. She loved risotto. She wanted me to teach her how to make the risotto. She invited me on her show to make risotto, and that's how I got invited to have my own show by the producer.
That's extraordinary.
So she was the one that kind of led me and supported me in my first TV venture.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but I promised Mary I'm going to let her get a word in edgewise because I don't want to hog the show. Go ahead, Mary. I know you've got some questions.
Well, first, thank you so much for joining us. It's such an honor to have you as our guest. So you have a multi-generational TV show. Your mother is on, and we love her. You have your grandchildren on your show. What are 1 or 2 things you'd like to pass on to the next generation?
Well, you know, when we get together, we are 4 generations. My mother is 99. She's going to be 100 in January. And she lives with me. She's right upstairs right now. I told her to be quiet because otherwise she'd take over the screen, you know? No, she's watching the Italian news. Every night she has the Italian news. And so, you know, it's the Italian way, I guess. Family stays together for good, for bad, for thick and thin and whatever. And my daughter, Tanya, lives 2 blocks away, and her kids. So the kids were always, my son is in the city, back and forth. I think that the most precious thing that my grandchildren could continue to harbor and build a life around is their Italianità, the beautiful of being Italian. You know, the Italian is a wonderful culture. It's a culture in a sense. Look at all the art, look at all the music. You know, people are very creative, but it's also a culture that's very much based in family, and the security, and that makes you feel good. That makes you, you know. So I think that they should always respect and use that part of who they are to enrich their life. You know, as I said, you know, I'm Italian and I have so much American also. These 2 things really made Lidia who Lidia is.
So I wanted to ask you about your books. I know you've got 3 of them there that you would like to show us because we saw them in pre-show, but you've got Lidia, also My American Dream, and Lidia Celebrates Like an Italian. Tell me how you celebrate like an Italian, Lidia.
Celebrate like an Italian. I have them all here. Here it is.
There we go. Oh, it's beautiful.
So you celebrate like an Italian all around the table, tutti a tavola mangiare, family style, platters, you know, and genuine food. None of this little fancy. You could present it beautifully. Yeah. You know, all of that, but still, to celebrate like an Italian is to kind of open your arms, open your doors, always have room for whoever comes in the house to join you and to share that feeling of openness, of welcoming, and to share the Italian food and wine that's so delicious.
Aggiungi un piatto a tavola. Just add
Una
a plate
sedia.
to the table.
You know, there's an old saying, c'è sempre spazio per una sedia a tavola. Allora, there's always room for one more chair at the table.
Yep. I love that. It's so comforting and so wonderfully traditional. You know, it's so very Italian. How about my American dream? Let's see that.
My American dream. Here it is.
So
this is, you know, this is a bit off. In total, I have about 13 books. And this is the first non-recipe book. It's kind of my biography, if you will, autobiography. And I had difficulties because I couldn't write about myself and whatever. So I had some help in writing it. But once I got into it, then I felt good about sharing. And, you know, about all the, in rethinking, because when you're writing, you're rethinking, recalling all the wonderful things, some difficult things, but the difficult things made me stronger and better, maybe. The need of support, the family, the friends, and, you know, the beautiful things that happen, that America gives us all the opportunity. It's up to us to roll up our sleeves and make it happen.
Right. And Lidia, if I'm not mistaken, was the name of your first restaurant, Lidia?
No, Lidia was the second restaurant.
Okay.
Where I became the chef. That's 1981, after the first restaurant. And this is the cookbook with the chef there of the recipes from Lidia's The Favorite. And even though it's a restaurant, you know, at the basis of it, these are all really basic Italian regional recipes. Then, you know, the chef takes it a little bit and elaborates it. And, but I was the guardian there. Don't you go off on a tangent. Give me the real Italian flavor, the real Italian spirit.
Mary, do you have any other questions before I pass it over to Justin?
Absolutely. Before I ask this next question, I want to explain why I'm asking it. So growing up, my grandma would make me sing or whistle, all of us really, when we were making something together in the kitchen. And later in life, I learned that it wasn't because she wanted to hear our beautiful voices. It was because she didn't want us eating the ingredients. And so I'm wondering, similar guidelines in the kitchen when your grandchildren were younger.
Well, I heard that too. Yeah, that's not unusual in the Italian, especially in the times when, you know, the ingredients were limited, especially the good, you know, ingredients that kids would like, you know, chocolates or sweets. My children in the kitchen, I know I wanted them to taste. I would give them, you know, whatever I was doing, take a little spoon, taste the sauce. And actually that's very important when you're cooking, that you taste as you go along, as whatever. But kids love it, even dough, you know, raw dough, they love eating dough, they love all of that. So no, I was very encouraging for them to taste things when they were raw and when they were cooked and in the process.
Okay. Justin, what do we got going on in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to let all of our viewers know that if you want to buy yourself a copy of My American Dream, Lidia, or any other of Lidia's products or books, the links have been dropped into the chat. So you can scroll through and you can, you know, go directly through it and pick yourself up a copy of that. But there's a lot of action in the chat, to be honest, Clarissa, and it's not surprising. From far and wide, people are, you know, saying how much they love Lidia, how much they've enjoyed her books, her recipes, her shows. And it's kind of incredible to see that outreach. The question that has come up multiple times, so I feel like I have to touch on it, is what is your favorite dish to cook? Is there one thing, if you had to choose to cook, what would it be?
That's difficult, you know, like what's your favorite child? It depends in what mood you're in or they are in. So I think for me, I love to cook seasonally. Whenever the seasons are coming around, the le primizie, as they call them in Italy, the first of the season. So I'm looking forward now to a lot of the squashes, the pumpkins, all of that, making pumpkin gnocchi with sage sauce. But you know, I think just my favorite has got to be pasta.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just
making me hungry.
when in doubt, or when depressed, or when you don't have any time, you open your cupboard, a little bit of oil, garlic, pasta, and something else to put in there, vegetable or whatever, and you know, voila, you got a gratifying dish.
You're good to go, right?
Absolutely good to go.
Do you have a favorite dessert that you go to?
You know, dessert is, again, you know, I think of Italy has one of the largest repertoires of Italian dessert recipes. So it has a tremendous amount of recipe. You know, Sicily is known for its delicious recipes, Piemonte. I happen to like the whole kind of genre of dolci al cucchiaio, spoon dessert. That means those are desserts that are made in-house with what you have, like tiramisu. You know, it's a dessert, dolce al cucchiaio. You sort of put layers of cookies or sponge cake or whatever you have with some mascarpone, you sweeten it up, some coffee, and you go in with the spoon. So anything that's like that I can go in soft with the spoon. I like panna cotta, you know, I like rum cake. It's also inzuppato, full of rum, you know, those kind of, that really kind of, when you take a spoonful or a nice bite, it fills your mouth with joy.
Well, we can't talk about food without talking about wine. So what's your go-to glass of wine?
Well, you know, Istria, Friuli, we have a home in Friuli now. We have a winery, the Bastianich winery. So Friuli is known for its wines. Collio Orientali, and that it's the end of the Alps, the Julian Alps, and it's sort of, it's some of the best whites in Italy grow there. So I happen to like a good white, whether it's a Pinot Grigio, whether it's a Ribolla, whether it's, you know, we make a Vespa, which is one of my favorite. Vespa is a blend of Chardonnay, Sauvignon, and Picolit. Picolit is an indigenous varietal from that area. Right. So, you know, a good, still now in the summertime. Then, of course, if you go through towards the winter, I go to the reds. And I like, you know, whether it's the Tuscans, the great Tuscan Brunellos, or whether it's the Barolos from the Piemonte. But you know what I've been really enjoying, and it's a non-pretentious red wine that's delicious, Primitivo. Primitivo, it's a varietal of the Zinfandel species, if you will. So it's full of body, delicious, and it's not all that expensive.
Yeah, I know that we have this, I asked the same question, I guess last week and maybe another time too, Justin and Mary know, and it's kind of an ongoing joke, Lidia, if you will. And I'm sure I know the answer already before asking the question, but is it gravy or sauce?
Oh, I get that asked all the time. So,
I know.
in Italy is sugo e salsa. This is the two. So sugo is usually a sauce that has some basis of meat in it, you know, a stewed beef or whatever. And salsa is a simple tomato sauce. So I would say that gravy would equate to sugo that has some meat in it, and sauce would be a tomato sauce.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching some of the videos that were on YouTube again as I was getting ready, and I noticed that you had said something in one of the interviews that if I see food and it talks to me, I have to touch it. I can't not touch it. And I think it was when you're probably at Italy and they had some like tagliatini, tagliatelle or something.
Well, you know, I think I am a medium through which food passes. You know, it's not about me, it's about the food. I work it, I exalt it. I do, and to do that, I need to understand it. Is it ripe enough? Does it need a little bit more cooking? Is it soft enough? Is it, you know, so all of those things, tactile, all of my senses I use, whether it is visual, coloring tells me a lot about food, If it's fresh, if it's old, you know, I can tell a lot by the smell. Olfactory is another one that I can tell a lot about food.
Yeah.
The taste, of course, but also tactile. You know, the touching of food gives me a lot of information, and then I process that information and make a dish.
Boxed or fresh pasta? What? Boxed or fresh pasta?
Oh, I don't know. Both are delicious. I come from fresh pasta. North, you know, we don't. But I think now I love maybe better dry pasta. It's so
much easier now, of course.
Yeah.
Mary, were you making a lot of the fresh pasta with your grandmother back in the day?
No, we made everything. With her, I primarily baked. With my mom, I cook. So it was kind of a hodgepodge.
Nice, Mary. You like to cook? You're a good cook?
I'm a better baker than I am a cook, but I try.
You know, that's sometimes that, you know, that is a dividing line. Some people bake better and are better at it. And baking is more of a science. So if you're more a systematic kind of person and you follow and you read, then baking could be, you know, you follow direction. And whereas, you know, if you're a chef or a cook, it's more like, you know, yes, you have a recipe, but you always kind of add on your own little feelings.
I think there's a third category in there as well, and that's where I fall, and that's the eaters. Some of us are just better eaters rather than bakers.
Let me tell you, we need you guys. Otherwise, there's nothing more triste than having done a big part of something, and either they don't show up or there's the traffic. Oh, I get so heartbroken. You know, I have it just at the right dinner, and then there's traffic, or we're gonna be late, or somebody got sick. So stay healthy and manage.
So here's a question I'd like to ask, and that is, you know, you're a chef and an entrepreneur. Also at the same time, you've been so extremely successful in almost everything that you've touched, including the food. What's next for you? It seems as though you're just getting started.
It's, you know, food is endless. You know, it's from beginning to end. It's always part of who you are, and it always evolves and it changes. It changes also as we change. You know, your outlook on how you cook and what you cook. I know I have my mother, my 99-year-old mother. She lives with me, especially in these times. You know, I take care of her and I cook for her, and I'm very attentive about, you know, can she chew everything? Can she digest everything? You know, her lunch meal is bigger than her dinner. Her dinner stay light. The balancing. So, you know, it's food.
Know your audience.
Yeah. Food takes you in different, you know, really sensitizes you to many different situations. As a profession, I am just finishing another book, which should be out in October. I just finished filming, even though at home, in this Zoom kind of situation, my next episodes for PBS, the cooking show.
Right.
And also I do a 1 hour special for PBS every year, Lidia Celebrates America. I am working on that, and it's been quite interesting and moving because it's all about our the line defenders, the people that go out in the first line and you know, are willing to almost give their life so that they can take care of us. And during this pandemic, we certainly had enough examples. Yeah. So it's it's going to be a great show. You know, and we had thought about this before the pandemic. So we were already working on this, you know, the 9/11s, the veterans, all of this. And then I feel good because it's an opportunity for me to really thank them on behalf of certainly my viewers that are all out there. Justin, how are my viewers out there?
They're climbing. Their questions are coming in fast. They're happy to see you, Lydia.
All right. What do they have any questions? Because I want you know, I love connecting with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, some, you know, people are writing in that, you know, they're from Friuli. We're talking about the wine, talking about, one person wrote that she suspects you also like Prosecco. Would that be true?
Prosecco is the next region over. It's Trentino Alto Adige. That's the Prosecco kind of. But I love Prosecco. Everybody is, you know, it's a non-pretentious, again, one of those non-pretentious wine. It's
Yep.
bubbly. It has a little sweetness. It's not expensive. And you can enjoy it from an aperitivo to dessert.
Yep.
So yes, I enjoy Prosecco very much.
Well,
and
Judy,
I like making mixed drinks with it too.
There you go. And it's perfect. You can make an Aperol with it. You can make a mimosa with it. It's very versatile. So
Exactly.
we can tell Judy Wolf that she was correct. Lydia does like her Prosecco.
Yes, I do.
And you mentioned that you just finished filming and some questions came in. When can they expect to see those on television, the new episodes?
Okay, it's a little delayed because usually it comes out at the end of November, but because of the situation and the filming that we had to do, virtual filming and connecting with people via Zoom like we're doing now, it's going to be a little bit delayed. But the show is Lydia Celebrates America on PBS, so you stay in touch with PBS and search for the show when it comes out. So it could be sometimes, hopefully in December.
Okay, so everybody check your local listings for your PBS station and probably around the holidays, December time.
Right. Whereas my show, my cooking show, the new shows are going to be out in October, the end of October.
Perfect. And those will also be on PBS. Is that right, Lydia?
Yes.
Okay.
That's PBS across. But, you know, they can go on my YouTube channel and they can find me. You know, I do a lot of, it's fun connecting. I mean, I am very appreciative of all the viewers and the people that follow me and the comments. I mean, I get a lot of comments from them on a personal level, actually, you know, and they tell me their story and their mother had a birthday and their son is, so, you know, can you send us a card? And I do all of that. So all of those viewers that are out there, thank you very much for watching and stay in touch.
Awesome. Okay, I have one last question because we're coming up almost to the end of the show. That's how quickly that went. And
wow.
that is, you know, Lydia, in your illustrious career, you've been received by princes and popes and many in between. And I'm going to ask you from an entrepreneurial level, what would you say has been your crowning moment?
I think, you know, there were a lot of them. I had, you know, I worked very hard, but there was a lot of gratification in what I did and what I do. But I think that I must say, I had the opportunity and I was asked to cook for two popes, not one.
Yes.
When Pope Benedict came to the United States, I cooked for him.
Right.
And when Pope Francis came to the United States, I cooked for him.
Right.
And, you know, when they come in New York, that is, when they came to New York, they don't stay in hotels or in restaurants. They stay in the nuncio's residence. And the Pope has his room upstairs. The kitchen is downstairs. So I was cooking. He was up there, you know, getting up, resting, whatever. So it was a close, almost living with the. So I must say that's, you know, that's an experience that I still, you know, say, did it happen? Is it true? Is it real? Yes,
absolutely. It is. Well, as we come to the close of the show, I'm sure somebody has a last question, but I do want to also let you all know that Mark D'Annunzio was supposed to be here hosting tonight. And he, unfortunately, he's living in Florida and Sally is raging through. So he doesn't have any internet and probably no electricity at this moment, but he does send his well wishes and certainly his regards to Lydia. So that's why I stepped in to be able to host this Facebook Live, again, second season, second show. Justin, do you have anything to close out with? Mary? I
think that's it from the viewers. Mary?
Well, real quick, I want to let Lydia know that I know at the end of every show you end with the phrase, tutti a tavola a mangiare. And in Cincinnati, our Sons of Italy Lodge sponsors what was the longest running Italian dinner in the nation. I think we were at 107 or 108 years consecutively until COVID. And then last year, we included your phrase on our t-shirts. So I want to thank you for that inspiration. I want to make sure you can see that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what an honor.
That's awesome.
Right. Will you give my best to all of the members out in Cincinnati, absolutely. Okay? All the Italian members. Thanks. Okay, and hope you continue this tradition, great tradition.
What a way to close the show, Lidia. That was really extraordinary. I thank everybody that was with us. I thank our extraordinary VIP guest, Lidia Bastianich. I also thank all of the followers that have been following us religiously since day one on Facebook Live here at the Order of the Sons and Daughters of Italy in America. This is Clarissa Burt. I'm very proud again to be with you tonight. Everybody, can we say goodbye now?
Ciao.
Ciao,
Ciao,
grazie.
ciao, grazie,
Grazie,
grazie.
arrivederci. E
Alla
tutti
prossima.
a tavola a mangiare.
Ciao, alla prossima.